Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. Welcome back to Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. This is Paul Metivier at Spencer Aleci. The match format is 5 strings with 14 points on offer, 2 points per string, 4 for total pinfall. If there is a tie, the points are evenly split. I am Steve Kelly for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and 3-ball spare conglomerate. It is great to have you along with us on this Monday evening for some Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Class B Northern Conference action. That's Paul Metivier for his first frame. He was off the headpin just a little bit, and he had a cleary shot, I believe, for the second ball, and the third ball resulted in a 9-box, leaving the 6 pin. So that's 9 after 1 for Mr. Paul Metivier. It's good as always to have you along with us. This match was played on Monday, February 24th, 2025. There's Paul Metivier to the left of the headpin, and that is what we call a half Worcester, which you punch out the 2 and the 8 or the 3 and the 9, and a quarter Worcester is if you punch just the 2 or the 3. And Paul Metivier for the half Worcester conversion, he nearly does it. He leaves the 4 pin on the deck and nothing else. With a lumberyard of wood behind it, it was a great spare bid. And for the 9 and 10 box, he'll take a 10 to start out. That's 19 after 2 for Mr. Paul Metivier. Here on the tour, on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, Paul Metivier this season has a record of 71 and 55 with 9 matches played. That's a 1.29 win-loss ratio. And he's on the headpin, nearly a strike. Drops 9, leaves the 10 pin on the deck. Paul Metivier's home record is 34 and 36, but he's away tonight. When he's away, it's a much better record of 37 and 19. That's a 1.95 win-loss ratio versus a 0.94 win-loss ratio. Metivier has a season average of 109. When he's away, that average is 113.2, and he'll start out, or he won't start out. He'll take his second 9-box of the night in the third frame for 28 after 3. First headpin shot of the night for Paul Metivier. It looked like it was promising at first with a strike bid, but he missed it twice. And will the headpin go? And will it be a split? It will be a split, but not a headpin for Paul Metivier. That's the 2 and the 7 pins down there on the deck for a spare bid. And Metivier will take a spare. That's 38 after 4. And a bonus. So again, it's great to have you along with us. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, brought to you by 3-ball spare conglomerate. Had some difficulty streaming to the Facebook page this evening, so went with the backup plan of streaming to 3-ball spare and then cross-posting to the Facebook page. That's a 7 split for Paul Metivier, the 4, 6, 7 on the deck. Difficult shot to convert, and I heard an ah. Never like to hear an ah. He sailed right through the hole to the right of the 4 pin, but he'll clean up for what some call a Paul Grant special, where you miss the second, get the third. That's a $1 donation to Candlepins per Cancer per occurrence. So let's take a look at the scores today. For the first time tonight, that's Paul Metivier with 55 after 5, with 1 mark, 2 10s, and 1 spare, and 2 9s. 55 for Paul Metivier. Here comes Spencer Aleci, our home bowler, the defending bowler tonight here at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Spencer Aleci has a season record of 38 and 74 with 8 matches played. 0.51 win-loss ratio. 12 and 30 went home. 26 and 44 went away. Second ball nearly takes them all. He has the 1 and the 2 on the deck. Shooting for 10. And he'll take 1 and leave 1, leaving the headpin. That's a 9 for Spencer Aleci. It was a season average of 105.03 for the season in the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour this year. At home, he's 99.2. Away, he's 108.52. Aleci crossing over. Wasn't on the headpin, but took the headpin. That's another not headpin shot, but is a split. 2, 3, 6, 10 for Spencer Aleci. Let's see what Spencer Aleci can cook up. And he'll leave 2 on the deck. 8, 9, or 10. It will be a 10 for Mr. Aleci, 19 after 2. We will assess some head pin and split statistics in a little while here. Once we get a couple more numbers and more substantial stats on the board. So Spencer Aleci crossing over to the left. 6-pack and a 7. Second ball, same as the first. This will be a rather remedial pitch. For a 10 box. Not quite on target, but it will at least pick up a few extra. That will be a 6 for... Oh, a 7, actually, for Spencer Aleci, leaving the 1, the 7, and the 10. Late falling pin. Should be 26 after 3 for Spencer Aleci. And all scores are confirmed as I have the opportunity to look over to the paper copy. Riverwalk lanes, we're all old school here, all paper scoring all the time. Spencer Aleci on the 1-2 pocket. He found his pocket there. Drops 8. 5-9. Aleci on the 5-9. And he was a little bit off. Slight wind-up issue, I think, was the cause of that misfire. And he'll take a 10, though, meanwhile. 36 after 4 for Spencer Aleci. So we'll get cozy here. So again, you're watching Paul Metivier at Spencer Aleci. Paul Metivier is the away bowler. Spencer Aleci, the home bowler. Spencer Aleci currently bowling. He's 13th overall in the wild card. 38 and 74. He has some ground to make up. And speaking of making up, that's a split. That's a 6 drop. 4-6-3-7 for Mr. Aleci. He'll punch the 6. He'll take one more. That'll be an 8 box. 8 box for 44 after 5 for Spencer Aleci. Down by 11 to Paul Metivier's 55 after 5. And 44 to 55 is confirmed. We'll have Paul Metivier coming back up and doing the ceremonial Riverwalk tradition of switching the ball returns, as the pair of lanes we have has 2 unique and separate ball returns. Lane 3's got its own, and Lane 4 has its own. So to catch you up, again, Paul Metivier has an early lead of 11, 55 to Spencer Aleci's 44. Here comes Paul Metivier. First time on Lane 3. Crossing over, goes to the left, takes out a corner. He's got some work to do on that corner. Oh, and he takes the 1-8-9 and nothing else. Two, 3, 5, 6, 10. Making the most he can out of that one. That's an 8 box and a 63 after 6 for Metivier. Now we have a look at Paul Metivier's stats. So he's currently 7th in the overall positionings. He's 71 and 55. And on the head pin that time will be a late falling strike. It sure will. It's a strike for Paul Metivier. And I think I got that on replay. There we go. Watch that. Watch how slow that was. The 2 falls late, and then the 10 falls late. That was Paul Metivier's strike. First one, first blood. For the double, drop 6. And split 6. 4-6-2-10. He'll take 2, and that'll be an 8 fill on a strike. That's 81 and 7. And that will be 9 for Paul Metivier. 90 and 8. With 2 to go. And Paul Metivier is off just a little bit. That's a right side 6-pack. Check his ID. And he's just a little off the target, and he leaves the target on the deck, the head pin. For a 10 box. It'll be 9. 99 in 9 for Paul Metivier. With 1 to go, 2 marks this game. Barring no disasters, this will be 100 and counting. And here he is on the head pin. Paul Metivier drops 7. Look out. 5, 7, 10. Some might call this. Lita Lane's folks will be familiar with this one. The Matt Susi special, a 5, 7, 10 split. And Metivier is just off to the left of the target. On the 5, 7, 10, he'll take 1, he'll take 2, and it will be 9. And that's going to be a 108 game 1 for Paul Metivier with 1 strike and 1 spare. 5 for 10 on the head pin, 4 of those 5, well, not necessarily 4 for those 5 head pins, but he had 4 splits because at least one of those splits was credited despite not dropping the head pin, which is possible. So Metivier will open up with a 108. And that is confirmed. Here we are again with Spencer Aleci for the first time on lane 3 tonight. Here he comes, Spencer Aleci. Left the head pin, 6-pack and a 7. You got 1 free. That crossover ball by Spencer Aleci has been killer lately on the first, but second ball is on target, but he leaves the 7 and the 10 for his efforts. Aleci. I think it will be an 8. I'm waiting for the call. Or excuse me, 9, I mean. And it will be a 9, 53 and 6 for Spencer Aleci. Again, I am not the official bearer of scores. It is always the bowlers who make the calls on the fouls and make the final say on the score. It's just me chasing them, especially with the paper copy. That's Spencer Aleci with a 5 drop and a split, 7-10, 4-6-3. And that is a doozy of a split. It's a spread eagle minus the 2. And he sails right through the center. Not much he could do about that one. The operative shot is to take the 3 and the 6 for a ride. And he'll take just the 3 and leave the banana for a 6 box. That's 59 and 7 for Spencer Aleci. A lot of punches today, and a lot of crossover balls. Spencer Aleci, he's bowled 8 matches. And he's had a challenging season. That's the nicest way I can put it. 38 and 74. He's off to the left and drops 6. That's the 1-3-6-8. See if Spencer can take this out. And that ball actually didn't cross over enough. That ball was extremely on the right corner to start out. He tailed inward, but didn't take the head pin. And that will be a 9, 68 and 8. Spencer Aleci has a high single of 135 and a high series of 621. He is the 4th seed in Class B North Division 2 and the 13th seed in B North overall. story for Spencer Aleci this season. Aleci is full on the 1-2 pocket. Does not split, actually. A late falling 7-pin saves him from the split stat. That's the 6 and the 10 down there. Oops. And that ball was a little bit off. Calls an audible. And he'll take a 9 in the 9th, 77. Still working on getting things started. Spencer Aleci sits at 77 and 9. A triple strike will not take the first game, though. It'll get him to 107. So Paul Metivier will take the first game. Spencer Aleci on the head pin. Thin-ish hit that turned into a thick-ish hit. That is a split. That's the 2-7-10. A lot of wood down there, but you still got to connect with the right side of the 2. Or the left side if you're feeling lucky. Spencer Aleci chooses the right side, and it goes. That will be a spare for Mr. Aleci. In fact, let's look at that one more time, shall we? On the 2-7-10, the right side of the 2, just as predicted, kicks everything over. So now he's going to fill that spare. Right now. It's on the head pin. It'll be at least an 8 fill. 8 fill it will be, 95. Good recovery for Spencer Aleci. 95 to Paul Metivier's 108. That's the end of the first game. Paul Metivier takes the first game, which means 2 points for Paul Metivier. Both bowlers, 5 head pin shots for 10 with 4 splits. Identical stats coming out of the first game. Here we are at the top of the second. Paul Metivier, our away bowler, on lane 3. And off we go, dropping 9. Leaves the 5. And that's a spare for Paul Metivier on the single. Nice ball, just direct on it, not much to it. Just take out the 5 pin and you're golden. Here comes Paul Metivier. Little full on the head pin with a split. 6 drop. 7-10, 4-3. Left side of the 3 is where the ball connected. Kicked the wood, but didn't do much else for him. $16 after 1. And he'll take 2 and leave 1. For a 9 box, 25 after 2. So where are we this evening on this Monday night? We're in Amesbury, Massachusetts at Riverwalk Lanes, formerly Lafayette Lanes, established in 2013 as Riverwalk Lanes. Located in Amesbury, Massachusetts, Mark Ritchie maintains this alley. The eccentric Mark Ritchie. And that's a 6 drop for Paul Metivier, 1-7-10-2. And he'll take the 1-2-7 and leave the 10. Riverwalk Lanes is located nearby the Powwow River. If you park on the lot on Friend Street, as I did this evening, you can experience the River Walk to Riverwalk. It's a pleasant little walk. It's possibly the origin for the name of the house, perhaps. But Amesbury is a very pretty city, or town, at night, especially during the winter where there's a lot of fancy lights and stuff, and I just think it's neat. Paul Metivier punches the 2 and the 8 for a left side half Worcester. 34 after 3 so far. And there goes the rest of the half Worcester for Paul Metivier for a spare. That was a great one. Just had to connect with the pocket and throw the equivalent of a strike ball. And he was on the left side of the head pin. And that was the end of the half Worcester for Paul Metivier. And our right side half Worcester now. If you like symmetry, I've got the place for you. This match. 3 and the 9 were punched out this time, as opposed to the 2 and the 8. Paul Metivier will punch more the left side, no mark this time. 1, 5, 6, 7, 10. It's a 5 box or greater for Paul Metivier. And he's a little bit off, and unfortunately it's going to be a 5 box. And that's going to be 51 after 5 for Paul Metivier. 2 marks. The 6 fill and the 2 fill dampened it a little bit, but 51 after 5 is where he's at. Just 4 down from the first game. Spencer Aleci now. Whoop. And that was an 8 drop. So powerful it moved the zoom cam even. It's the 5 and the 8, and that's a spare for Spencer Aleci. Starts out with a spare. And I think I got that on the replay. There it is. Takes it right out, right in the face. The only way you can really take that shot, honestly. Spencer Aleci on the spare fill. Splits 8, but 8 fill ain't nothing to shake a stick at. That's the 8 and the 10 with wood to help. Let's take a look at that. Rolling wood down there, depending on where it settles. That might determine where we end up going. And that wood, like I said, its ending point was going to be a problem if it stopped in the wrong spot, and it appeared that it did. So no mark. 9 or 10 box. It's the 8 pin down there. Piece of wood waiting to settle. It's in a better spot this time, assuming it doesn't roll back. Should be good. 9 or 10. It's a 10 box and 28 after 2 for Spencer Aleci. Riverwalk Lanes is owned by Mark Ritchie, a dude I've seen drinking a Dunkin' coffee at 8:30 at night. Dedicated guy. He holds many Candlepin records, including the all-time high Candlepin triple. It's a 6 drop for Spencer Aleci, leaving 4 on the deck. The 1, 2, 7, and 10. One, 2, 7, and 10 for Spencer Aleci, and he's just a little off target to the right. And he'll take half of the deck out for the 3rd ball for an 8 box. That's 36 after 3 for Spencer Aleci. You're watching the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, abbreviated as the ACST. It's a season-long series of Candlepin bowling matches among bowlers, and that's a strike for Spencer Aleci all the while. Let's see that again, shall we, while I was yapping. That crossover ball on the 1-2 pocket finally paid off for Spencer Aleci. The 6 pin was the last to fall. That was all he needed. 46 and a bonus after 4. And on the 1-3 pocket for the double, and he drops 6 and splits 6. 2, 8, 9, 10. Pocket shot got him that, but the wood looks favorable. I'm looking at that tasty piece of wood on the 4 and the 8. You could try to play the wood on the right, but I don't know about that. But Spencer Aleci plays the wood a little bit too much to the right in the back. Leaves the 3 sticks in the back, 7 fill on the strike, and an 8 fill, an 8 box. With that 8 box, that puts Spencer Aleci at 61 after 5, up by 10 into Paul Metivia's 51. That's a contrast where Paul Metivier was up by 11 in the first string at the half. So Spencer Aleci with a bit of a comeback. A difference in the total of 3, 159 Paul Metivier, 156 Spencer Aleci. It's a pretty competitive match so far. Back and forth. Game and a half in here on the ACST. So yes, the ACST, it's a season-long travel league, Candlepin Bowling. Classes A through F this year. Lots of bowlers in the ACST, myself included. This is Class B in the Northern Conference. Each matchup against 2 bowlers is a scratch match. No handicaps or assistive point values. Paul Metivier working box down there, leaving the 6 and the 10. 2 points are awarded to the winner of each game. The bowler whose cumulative total is the highest results in an additional 4 points awarded. Paul Metivier will take a 9 box in the 6th for 60. A tie and a string will award each bowler 1 point. A tie and total pinfall results in 2 points for each bowler. And Metivier with a slow-moving 9-drop. That's the 3-pin, and only the 3-pin. For a spare. Should be a gimme. And, oh, well, it's a gimme if you hit it. Metivier crossed over a little bit too much. For the 10 box, it's always the ones that got away, but that's a Paul Grant special. Miss the second, get the third. $1 donation to Candlepins per Cancer per occurrence. Paul Grant. He's like Santa Claus in the off-season. He's always watching. Paul Metivier to the right of the head pin this time. 7 drop, 1, 2, 7. Punch 1, leave 1. 1, 7 on the deck for Paul Metivier. 8 box, 9 box or 10 box, and nice 10 box for Paul Metivier. I know it was a 10 box, but I kind of want to see that again because that shot is not as easy as it looks. And he hit the right side of the head pin to kick over to the 7. It's tough to get that not go full or just go off target. At least in terms of taking the second pin. 4, 6, 2, 1, 10 for Paul Metivier on the first ball. He was off to the right. And he's off target to the left. Leaves the 1 and the 10. And that's another nice 10 box for Paul Metivier, and this time it was on the opposite side. On the 110 instead of the 17. Here we go, watch this. On the 110, bam. Paul Metivier is good at getting those tonight. Here he goes, crossing over, first ball. That's a piece of work. That's 1, 3, 4, 7. And he's a little too full on the 1-3 pocket that time. Right idea, just too much force. And it'll sail off to the left for an 8. Second game will be a 98 for Paul Metivier. 206 two-game total, 2 mark 98. 3 strikes, 3 10s. 3 for 10 on the head pin with 1 split. So the early lead Paul Metivier had in the first game, and then the slightly under par second game might open up a hole for Spencer Aleci to take advantage of here, who is already up by 10 in the 5th. 61 to Metivier's 51. Here comes Spencer Aleci. To the right of the head pin, half Worcester plus a friend. Second ball is full. 7-10, 4-6-2. He'll nudge down one more for a 6, 67 and 6. Still a lead of 7 for Spencer Aleci. That ball was way off to the left, crossing over, and that is a lemon drop, in which you punch out the 4 or the 6 pin on the first ball, and that's a $1 donation to Candlepins per cancer per occurrence, and it's a $5 donation if it was on a mark and is on a fill. And Aleci, wow, you gotta love that. The pins are still mixing. Really generous mix of pins on the second ball. It was almost a rip-off shot, but he is left with a 6-9-10. No mark, but it could have been way worse. And that'll be a 9. That will be 76 and 7 for Spencer Aleci. Riverwalk Lanes. Again, it used to be called Lafayette Lanes back in the day, and they host the King of the River tournament. Current reigning champion is Tony Levesque. So come get him at the King of the River tournament at Riverwalk Lanes. There's Spencer Aleci. Goes off to the right, and that's a 6-pack. Check his ID. We ID, even at Riverwalk Lanes. There's a bar right next door to Riverwalk Lanes. You can actually get to it from within this building. A little connector between the two buildings. Very Massachusetts way to hop from building to building without even going outside. Spencer Aleci on the head pin for a 10 box. It'll be a 9. 85 and 8. Riverwalk Lanes is only 8 lanes, so what you see in these wide shots is what you get. It's a very small house. Very old school. Very classic. Got the wood gutters, painted blue. Pin setters that behave most of the time. If they don't, you just press the button again. That's a 7 drop for Spencer Aleci, 1-3-10. Connect with the 1-3 pocket, and you got the shot. And yes, sir, that's a spare for Spencer Aleci. Let's look at that again, shall we? Again, right on the pocket. Nice ball. Took everything out. The ball even had some extra energy in it after the spare was complete to cross over to the left gutter. Here comes Spencer Aleci on the fill, and that's one heck of a fill. I thought he was going to get more, but that's a 3. 98 and 9. He'll take a few more and a couple extra. 1-2-10. That'll be a 9 and a 107 game 2 for Spencer Aleci. 202, 2-game total for Spencer Aleci with that 107, but he will take 2 points in the second game, and Paul Metivier is at 206 after 2 games. Difference of 4 in the total. Paul Metivier holding on to it by 4. Spencer Aleci taking the second game by 2. Both bowlers having similar headpin shots. Paul Metivier so far is 8 for 20, and Spencer Aleci 9 for 20. In the second game, Paul Metivier went 3 for 10 on the headpin. Spencer Aleci went 4 for 10 on the headpin. 2 splits for Aleci, 1 split for Metivier. 3 marks for Aleci, 2 marks for Metivier in the second. 40% quarterback rating for Paul Metivier and 45% headpin percentage completion quarterback rating for Spencer Aleci. 5 splits for Metivier, 6 splits for Aleci so far. Our bowlers were just taking a quick breather here, and we're going to move on to the next game now. Paul Metivier was just grabbing a Fanta. Not sponsored or anything, but Paul Metivier's drink of choice tonight. Orange soda. And Metivier starts out with a 6 drop on the 1-3 pocket. Excuse me, not the 1-3 pocket. Just the pocket. A little full. 8-10-6-3. Yeah, it wasn't the 1-3 pocket because the 3's still up. But that's a nice spare for Paul Metivier. That was one of the most interesting marks I've seen tonight. Let's take a look at that. Even Paul Metivier was like, what the heck was that? He wasn't on the target at all. And just that that reaction kind of said it all. Just clearing a piece of wood there. See, candlepin is one of those sports where you can... Well, it's one of those target shooting games where sometimes you can miss your target and still get your target, if you get my drift. And Paul Metivier, oh no. That was something. I don't remember ever putting in a 0 fill on a mark, but hey, this is the first time for everything. That first ball took a trip into the gutter. He wanted to cross over. Second ball, oh, it's what could have been. That was nearly a spare. Left the 6-pin standing. That'll be a 10 for Paul Metivier. 20 after 2. And that could have been a spare if that first ball didn't go right into the gutter. In the ACST, as an example, if you win the first, second, and third strings, lose the fourth and fifth, and win total, you take 10 points of 14, going 10 and 4. That's a 9 drop for Paul Metivier. The 5-pin is down there on the deck. And that's a spare for Paul Metivier. Nice single pin spare. It could have been 3 marks in a row, but just didn't happen. See if we get this real quick. Oops, sorry. We'll play that again in a minute. And Paul Metivier will fill with 4. A strong shot down the center. And it was a split and a spread eagle. Spread eagles when you punch out the center and leaving the left and right wings. Call it wing stop. And he'll take the left half. Won't spare it. 3, 6, 10 for Paul Metivier. 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. And that'll be an 8 for 42 and 4. All right, let's try to show that replay once more that I was trying to show before. Right on the single. And he was right on it, and it goes. That was the spare. So he's at 42 after 4. A couple of missed opportunities, particularly with that 0 fill on the spare. Paul's on the 1-3 pocket. First ball's dialed in now. Drops 8. 4-8. On the 4-8, he's, well, not quite on the 4-8. He was to the left of the 4. It's a 9 box or greater for Paul Metivier. And deflection results in a 9 box. That will be 51 after 5. 4 for 5 on the head pin for Paul Metivier, but again, it's a little bit dampened by that 0 fill on that first box. As he said, as he mutters behind me, the half that could have been. And I don't disagree. So anyway, Spencer Aleci now. See if he can get to 51 or greater at the half. Off we go, and he's off to the right of the head pin. Half Worcester plus a friend. 4, 6, 1, 2, 7, 10, 8. And he's on the target, but awkward shot, awkward mix leaves the 4 and the 7 for an 8, 9, or 10 box. 10 it is after 1 for Spencer Aleci. For the ACST in classes A through D, 8 bowlers in each conference go to the playoffs. 4 division winners will be seeded 1 through 4 based on record. 4 wildcard winners will be seeded 5 through 8 based on record. Split and a 7 drop for Spencer Aleci. That's a 7, 9, and 5. Playoff matches in the ACST are based on total pinfall rather than points. Classes E through F, the 2 newest classes in the league, they face playoffs that have 6 bowlers, with 2 winners of the division getting byes, if I have that understanding correctly. If I don't, someone on the ACST committee, please let me know in the comments. Spencer Aleci, who is on the ACST committee, I might add, he'll take an 8-box, 18 after 2. The B class of the ACST has a North and South conference, 4 divisions between the 2 of them. And that's true of classes A through D, for that matter, as well. Spencer Aleci to the left of the head pin, and to the left of the head pin, it is a half Worcester. Spencer Aleci on the Worcester, and that's another Worcester conversion and a spare. 28 after 3 and a bonus. Watch, and that ball didn't cross over too much, and it was right on the 1-3 pocket. That was how it went. Spencer Aleci filling a spare on the 1-2 pocket. Split 7, fills 7. 35 after 3. That's the 4-6-3 on the deck. Here it comes. And he's on the 6. Leaves the 3 and the 4. He'll kick 1 and leave the 3. That's a 9-box, 44 after 4, up by 2 over Paul Metivier, 42 after 4, the equivalent point in the game. Aleci to the left, drops 7, 1-3-6, 1-3-10. Oh, and that was a beauty of a ball on the 1-3 pocket. That's a spare. Great way to end it. That puts him at 54 after 5 for Spencer Aleci. 2 marks for both of our bowlers. With Spencer Aleci, it's looking a little bit brighter as he has 1 open mark in the 5th. And as long as he doesn't fill with 0, it's looking pretty good, and he has 3 additional pins. So that's the story. Again, real quick, let's look at that replay once again, because that was a great spare by Spencer Aleci in the 1-3 pocket. Took it all out. Paul Metivier is going to be on lane 3 here at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts on the ACST. ACSTV. Here comes Paul Metivier. Wasn't on the head pin. Dropped a few. It's a working ball. 1, 5, 3, 8, 9, 10. For the spare. Oh, and he's off to the left. Crosses over. 1, 5, 3, 9, 10. Oh, and he gets... Well, he gets some pins out of it for his efforts, but he's left with the 5, the 10, and the 9 for a 7-box. Riverwalk Lanes is not being super kind tonight to certain shots. I've heard about this. Haven't seen it in a while, but we're seeing it tonight. That's a 7-drop, not in the head pin for Paul Metivier. 1, 3, 9. He's a little bit off. And a 7-box it will be, unfortunately. Misses twice. 65 and 7 for Paul Metivier. Folks, if you live in the area and want to try out Candlepin Bowling, I invite you to go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. Candlepin Bowling is all over the place, including in a center in Albany, New York. And actually had a recent viewer comment on the 3-ball spare page on Facebook mentioning, and sorry, I just don't have it in front of me, but I believe they mentioned that there was another bowling center somewhat close to them that wasn't in Albany. I forget where it was mentioned, but it's always good to know. There's some Candlepin Bowling that has snuck out of New England in some capacities, so. But if you don't live in New England and there's no alleys around and you want to check it out, I'd say it's worth the trip. It's one of the cultural staples of the northeastern United States and eastern Canada. That's a 9-box for Paul Metivier, 74 and 8. Paul Metivier 12 for 28 on the headpin tonight with 7 splits. And yep, we've seen a lot of that tonight. That's the 189 for Paul Metivier. Longtime viewers of the program will know that I actually made a YouTube short out of a very similar shot that he got here. And needless to say, I don't think I need to make a second YouTube short out of that, but man, you hate to see that. Well, the second ball turns it into a spread eagle. But this is going to be a bit of a miserable box. It's going to be 5 for 79 in the 9th. Little fault of his own. That's just a difficult shot. It's one of those screw you shots, the rip-off shot, the 189 followed by the 5-pin, and then just trying to make the most of a spread eagle by the 3rd ball. Paul Metivier to the right this time, not crossing over. Pins are still mixing, and actually that will be a split and not a head pin. 7, 9, 10. Let's take a look at that. Home Depot down there, 4 pieces of wood between the 7 and the 9. And, well, I guess Home Depot wasn't offering any sales. No mark, and 9 or a 10, and that will be a 9. That will be an 88 third game for Paul Metivier. That's a rough 3rd game. Bit of a bumpy road to 294 after 3 for Paul Metivier. 2 marks. One that was basically the equivalent of a 10-box with that 0 fill, but 108, 98, 88 for Paul Metivier. 294, 3-game total. And now back to Mr. Aleci, our home bowler, who's sitting on a mark. 54 after 5. Working on a spare. On the head pin, and that's a strike on spare for Mr. Spencer Aleci. See that again, shall we? Strike on spare on the 1-2 pocket. 6-pin falls last. So he's currently at 74 after 6. Putting an exclamation point on his half. That was a head pin shot. And a split. 5 so far. 4, 6, 2, 7, 9. Spencer Aleci tries to put a spare on the strike, but he'll only put 8 on it. 82 and 6. 6, 9. Piece of wood half in, half out on the left side. It'll be an 8 for 90 and 7. For Spencer Aleci. Spencer Aleci tonight is 13 for 27 on the head pin with 9 splits. Paul Metivier went 13 for 30 on the head pin with 8 splits. Spencer Aleci. Off to the left, leaves a 6-pack. Check his ID. Aleci on the 6-pack, and the 6-pack falls. It's 100 in 8 for Spencer Aleci. This bud's for you. Great shot by Spencer Aleci. On the spare. He'll fill with 5. It's a Cleary. Named after Bob Cleary, who was on WNDS Candlepin Stars and Strikes at one point, and he apparently got the shot a lot. It's basically the 4 horsemen plus the opposite sleeper pin that isn't in the corner. It's one of those shots where it's kind of tough to remember. I always get it mentally backwards. I always think the sleeper's behind the horseman, but that's a 10 box for Spencer Aleci, regardless of what it was. That's 115 and 9. We get the reset for a respot as the 9-pin decided to take a vacation. Let's talk about Candlepins for Cancer while we have a moment. We've been talking about the donations to Candlepins for Cancer for the lemon drops and the Paul Grant specials and all that. And there's a reason for that. Check out candlepins4cancer.com to sign up for qualifying roll-offs or to donate. We'll talk more about Candlepins for Cancer a little bit down the line in the program. That's a 9 drop for Spencer Aleci, leaving the 4 on the deck. 2 pieces of wood to the left and the right. 115 and counting. This will be a really great game for Spencer Aleci. If he can get this, and he does, he'll spare that up for 125. Take a look at that once again. Look at that. Right on the 4. Takes the wood. Would have been a miss if the wood wasn't there. Anyways, 5 mark 125 for Spencer Aleci, and he's not done yet. What does he do here? Let's find out. On the head pin, and 3. Oh, 4, actually, excuse me. Late falling pin, spread eagle fill, 129 for Spencer Aleci. And I'll confirm that in just a moment. 331 3-game total for Spencer Aleci, averaging 110 and some change. Paul Metivier at 294 after 3 games, having a rough night after the first game. He was victorious, but then not taking the second, not taking the third, and down by 37 in the total now. Here comes Paul Metivier. And he'll take a half Worcester. Punch the 2 and the 8. On the Worcester, and we've seen both bowlers spared at least once tonight. Not this time, though. Paul Metivier at least the 1, the 4, and the 7 on the deck. And he'll take all but the 7 for a 9 box. 9 after 1 for Paul Metivier. There's some other stuff I'd like you to check out if you're into Candlepin Bowling and want to see more. There's Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube. There's at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok. There's at Candlepin Corner on YouTube as well as Facebook. There's, of course, the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook, which is kind of the main hub. And then there's my channel, of course, 3 Ball Spare on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.tv. So check all that out if you're into Candlepin and just can't get enough. And there's even more as well. There's also the Candlepin chat group on Facebook for the source of a lot of discussion and stuff. If you want to know about upcoming tournaments or strategies or history or any of that, that's all on the Candlepin chat group on Facebook. And if you want some more of the Pro League stuff, check out allychat.net for some of the Friday Night Pro League recaps on allychat.net as well as youtube.com/@allychat. And if you want to talk about more classic, the really old stuff, but the really fun stuff, some of the really old classic Candlepin TV shows and matches with some of the greats and the legends and all of that, there's some YouTube channels, specifically Wolfman12395 on YouTube, as well as the Candlepin Bowling channel on YouTube. And Alley Chat's YouTube channel also occasionally posts some Alley Chat classics as well. So check all of those out for like Channel 5, Candlepin Bowling, Candlepins for Cash, Candlepins for Dollars, the $30,000 Candlepin Challenge, all of those shows from the old days. Most of those are preserved on YouTube, so check those out to see some of the legendary matches from yesteryear. All right, I think we're up just about good here. We were just vamping as we were waiting for a very slow pin setter, but now it's all set. Paul Metivier is on lane 3. As Mark Ritchie comes out of the shadows, doing some active work down there. Thank you, Mark Ritchie. All right, Palmetivier. On the headpin, and he punches 5. Spread eagle minus the 10. 4, 6, 2, 3, 7. Metivier. Oh, and 3 almost takes 2. 3 takes 1. It's a nice attempt. Leaves the 3 on the deck. And he'll take it out for a 10. 19 after 2 for Metivier. I was watching an old episode of Candleman Stars and Strikes recently. It was Gary Carrington versus Joe Ashline, and actually Dan Murphy was talking about when you have leaves like that, he actually prefers to shoot at the side with fewer pins. And that's actually kind of runs contrary to the way I used to approach it. I used to, for some reason, think, and now that I think of it, I don't really understand why I did it this way, but I used to think that you could just shoot at the side with the most pins to try to work out the mess with the ball, but allegedly Dan Murphy suggests shoot at the side with fewer pins if you have something like that. Metivier didn't do that in this case, but he shot at the 3, hoping 3 would take 2, but I mean, technically no answer is really wrong per se, but just something to keep in mind that I fished out of one of the old WNDS TV50 matches in the commentary. That was a 9-box for Metivier, 28 after 3. And Metivier once again. Here's another shot. Remember when we were just talking about this? Here it is again. Spread eagle minus the 10. So like I said before, Dan Murphy would say, I guess apparently he suggests shoot at the 3-6 at this. But we'll see. Metivier chose to shoot at the side with 3. Took the 4-7. 2, 3, 6 left on the deck. And that's a 9-box for Metivier. 9, 10, 9, 9, 37 after 4. 2 for 4 on the headpin this game. Both of those headpin shots were splits, and they were both that spread eagle minus the 10. Making my job easy in terms of memory. Metivier is 15 for 34 on the headpin with 10 splits tonight. Final first ball of the half of the 4th game. 6 drop and an accordion. Right side accordion, 5, 6, 9, 10. You know the old joke about the accordion? Someone left their accordion in the back of a station wagon. He came back and the back window was smashed and there were 2 in there. I'll be here all week, folks. Metivier versus the accordion. He chooses to play the wood and it goes. Fantastic shot by Metivier to end the half, to put an exclamation point on that whole thing. 47 and a bonus after 5 for Metivier. 3.5 game total of 341. So sitting on a mark is something to feel good about. Here's that shot once again, because that was a beauty. He played the wood. Specifically, he capped the wood, and that sailed and skewered the accordion. Here's Spencer Aleci. To the right of the headpin, drops 6, drops 7, drops 8, 1, drops 9. The headpin, the pin he missed, is the one that's left standing. Aleci versus the headpin for a spare. Single pin shot. Misses it off to the left. And third ball is the same as the second. That's 9 after 1. And if you're into podcasts, there's also a couple other things to check out, such as the Ripping the Rack podcast, the Approach podcast. Great podcast to listen to for the Candlepin Bowling world. It's also Tony Levesque and Charlie Collins on TikTok. You want to check them out, and that's Spencer Aleci with a 9 drop. All but the 9 falls. It's another single pin spare opportunity for Spencer Aleci. It's the 9 pin. And he gets it that time. That's a spare for Spencer Aleci. Single pin spares are difficult shots, and because you have to be basically right on target to hit it. Could have played the wood, but it's in a situation where never rely on the wood. Just go straight for the pin. Spencer Aleci on a mark. He drops 4 and leaves the 6-pack on the right side. Check his ID. Aleci. Right through 3 of the 6 on the 6-pack, drinking responsibly. 3, 6, and 10 left on the deck. For the 10 box, he'll get that 10. 33 after 3 for Spencer Aleci. Spencer Aleci tonight is 15 for 33 on the head pin with 9 splits. Paul Metivier is 16 for 35 on the head pin with 10 splits. 2 strikes for Spencer Aleci, 1 strike for Paul Metivier. Spencer Aleci has 8 spares, Metivier 6. Weekly 8 drop for Spencer Aleci. That's the 5 and the 8 on the deck. 5-8, and I think the 5 even slid a little bit or was off its spot. Doesn't matter, it goes. That's the spare for Spencer Aleci. Let's take a look at that even. Yeah, I was worried about that 5-pin being off the spot to the right. But didn't matter. Kicked over. The wood may or may not have helped a little bit, but everything went. 2 marks in 4 boxes for Spencer Aleci. 2 headpin shots, no splits. 43 and a bonus after 4. Spencer Aleci currently in control of the match. And he needs it this season. And that's a 9 drop and a 9 fill for Spencer Aleci on the headpin. 52 after 4. Again, talking about Spencer Aleci, he has 22 strikes, 73 spares, and 93 tens this season with a 47% perfect box percentage and 4,201 season total pins, and Spencer Aleci just missing the single pin, 7-pin with wood, a spare opportunity. Left points on the table there, and that's a 10 box for Spencer Aleci. That's 62 after 5. So Spencer Aleci up by 15 in the game minus Paul Metivier's fill. So still in control, but he could have had a much higher lead if that 62 was open on a mark. But missing that 7-pin on the second ball and causing the Paul Grant special on the third ball results in a 62 half. So here's Paul Metivier. On a mark, and my goodness, he'll punch 2, another half Worcester. 49 after 5 for Paul Metivier. That actually puts Spencer Aleci in a little bit more comfortable footing now. And Paul Metivier sails through the void in the second ball, won't mark it. Third ball is a must connect. And he does. He'll take an 8. Great out. 57 after 6 for Paul Metivier. Both bowlers relatively even head pins and splits. Paul Metivier is 16 for 36. Spencer Aleci is 17 for 35. And the same thing for Paul Metivier. 3-9 punch. The half Worcester. It's a clinic of half Worcesters tonight. And it'll punch, well, not really punch, but get a thin hit on the head pin, leaving the 5, 6, 10. 7, 8, 9, 10 for Paul Metivier, and it'll be an 8. 65 and 7. Paul Metivier, when he's home at Leda Lanes, his average is 105.64. When his high single is 144, his high 5 is 597. He'll leave the 6-pack and a 7 on the deck for the first ball. Paul Metivier has 27 strikes, 101 spares, and 104 tens. His perfect box percentage is 51, with 4,905 seasonal total pins. He's currently in second place in Class B North Division 4, and the number 7 seed in Class B North overall. And Paul Metivier will take a painful 9 box. He's hunting for a mark. He's at 74 after 8. Paul Metivier has 4 matches at or over 550 this season. Hasn't thrown a 600 yet this season. He's gotten close, but not quite there yet. He has 1 of 9 matches with shutout victories. That's 14 points. Going 14-0, and that's nearly a strike. That was almost the ball he was looking for. Drops 9, leaves the 8 pin on the deck. Paul Metivier has 5 of his 9 matches with double-digit wins. And that's a spare for Paul Metivier on the single, 84-9. Piece of wood helped that ball get course corrected into the 8 pin, just like that. I think it would have connected with it normally, but never helps to have some extra wood. And he's on the head pin, drops 7, fills 7. That's a right side triangle. 5-6-3. And he'll punch the center of the triangle. Triangles are second only to diamonds in difficulty. They're slightly easy, but you can also do something like that where you can punch the center of the triangle. And he picks a stick. Paul Metivier will finish with a 100 game 4. And that's a 394 4-game total for Paul Metivier. 108, 80, 108, 98, 88, and 100. Paul Metivier is 18 for 40 on the head pin tonight, just under 50%. 10 splits, 45% head pin percentage. And here comes Spencer Aleci, who left a mark on the table in the 5th box. But Paul Metivier's performance may give him an easier time here. That's a split for Spencer Aleci. That's the 2-7-8. With wood settling down there. Corralled in between the 2, the 7, and the 8. Aleci. It's just off. Crossed over too much. 2-8. And he'll cross over again. That's an 8 box, 70-6 for Spencer Aleci. He's gone 4 for 6 on the head pin this game with 1 split. Paul Metivier went 5 for 10 on the head pin with 2 splits this game. Spencer Aleci will get a quarter Worcester, take only the 2 pin. Pin gets knocked in the next week, jumps over everything else. Quarter Worcester spare opportunity for Spencer Aleci coming right up. The pitch, off the right. You have to basically throw a strike ball. He leaves the 1-4-7. It's going to be the road to 100 for Spencer Aleci. Nice 10 box and a nice out. 80-7. Comfortable lead of 15 in the 7th for Spencer Aleci. It crosses over to the head pin. Takes 4 with a spread eagle, 4 drop. Piece of wood hanging out in the middle region. And will 3 take 3? Spread eagle for a spare? Not quite. He leaves the 3. It was looking good for a little bit, but no can do. Good attempt, though. He'll clean up that eagle, though, for a 10, 90-8. Spencer Aleci comments he's never taken the spread eagle for a spare, and he nearly did it. And I'd say he hit it the right way. Spencer Aleci to the right of the head pin. Drops 6, 1-4-7-9. It's a Cleary minus the 2. Oh, and he almost spares it up. He connects with the left side of the head pin, gets some bouncy ball sidewall action, but the 9 pin is untouched. He'll take a 9. That's 99 in 9 for Spencer Aleci now. With 1 to go, he needs 1 pin to tie and more than 1 pin to take 2 points in this game. Spencer Aleci currently at 4 points. Metivier took the first game. Spencer Aleci took games 2 and 3. And Spencer Aleci is off to the left of the head pin, but that will be the 4th game for Spencer Aleci, knocking his point total up to 6. And will he spare it up? The 10 pin is touched. It was hit, but it doesn't go. Just looking to pad out the lead. He's at 36 and counting. Probably 45. Wow. Unbelievable. That did not take the 10 pin either. That's 108 game 4 for Spencer Aleci and a 4-game total of 439 with that 95, 107, 129, and 108. Spencer Aleci in the driver's seat with 6 points, up in the total by 45, and took the 4th game by 8. So currently it is Paul Metivier 2, Spencer Aleci 6. We're going to be moving on to the 5th and final game here tonight in Riverwalk Lanes on this Monday Night Bowling action. 5th and final game is important because it's worth 6 points technically. You can reclaim the total pinfall if you have a really great lead by the end of the 5th game. And of course you could take 2 points for taking the 5th game. So when you think about it, it's worth 6 points. Split for Paul Metivier. 5, 7, 10, 9. Oh, and there was a lumberyard down there, but he sailed off to the left and hit the wrong wood. And felt like the ball and the pins phased through a couple other standing pins. So that's going to be an 8 box for Paul Metivier. 8 after 1. Here comes Paul Metivier. He's off to the left of the head pin and leaves a 6-pack on the right side. Metivier on the 6-pack. Takes 5 of 6. Target pin is left on the deck. Wood rolling to the head pin, but doesn't seem like it's going to take it. Metivier on for a 9 or 10, and it will be a 9. He missed it. 17 after 2. Paul Metivier on average goes 26 for 50 on the head pin. Hoping tonight will not be an outlier. He's only at 45% so far. Drops 7. Diamond minus the 5. That's the 9-6-3 for Paul Metivier to shoot at. And he leaves 2 on the deck. Paul Metivier averages 13.67 splits per match. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 42 points, averaging 8.4 per match. That's a 9 box for Paul Metivier. He has 8 of 9 matches totaling at or over 500 pins in pinfall. His longest streak of strings at or over 100 has been 12. His longest streak of matches at or over 500 has been 4. That's an 8. That's a 5-6 split for Paul Metivier. Paul Metivier's longest winning streak, defined as greater than 7 points per match, has been 3. He averages 9.25 points per away match and 6.8 points per home match. He picks a stick, leaves the 6. Now for the 10 box, he'll take the other stick, sticks it out for a 10 box, 36 and 4 for Paul Metivier. In Paul Metivier's past 5 matches, he's taken 13 strikes, 62 spares, and 54 tens. Averages 12.4 spares per match in those past 5 matches. And he'll drop 6 and split 6. That's the 5-6-3-7. Triangle right and the 7-pin left. And he'll take 2 of the 3 triangle pins. 6 and 10 left on the deck. And he'll sail through the void for an 8-box. Markless in this half, 44 after 5 for Paul Metivier. Despite going 4 for 5 on the head pin, he got 3 splits. Just unlucky. It's always unfortunate when you have such a great head pin shot percentage like that for at least a half, and you just get crap like that, because I know I've been there. I know last week in the Reed's Ferry Athletic Association League at Leda Lanes, I had a similar half where I think I went at least 4 for 5 on the head pin and had similar results for the half. It was just bad leaves and couldn't make the marks happen. That's a quarter Worcester for Spencer Aleci on the 3-pin. And he'll punch full in the pocket, but it was kind of beneficial and kind of not. He's left with the 4, the 6, and the 10. Gentleman walking into Riverwalk saying hi to Spencer. It's like cheers in here. Spencer Aleci 7, 8, 9, or 10. 2 will not take 1, but he'll make a good effort. That's 9 after 1 for Spencer Aleci. Talking more about Spencer Aleci, he has 2 matches at or over 550 this season. He has 1 match at or over 600. So he has one stat that Paul Metivier doesn't. Working ball. He has no matches with shutout victories so far, but he has 1 match so far with double-digit wins, and maybe this could be the second. We'll see. He, on average, Spencer Aleci, that is, goes 24.5 for 50 on the head pin and averages 12.5 splits per match. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 28 points, averaging 5.6 per match, and Spencer Aleci will go to war for a 10-box, and he'll get a 10-box, 19 after 2. In Spencer Aleci's past 5 matches, he's totaled 2706 pins in grand total pinfall, averaging 541.2. He has 6 of 8 matches totaling at or over 500 in grand total pinfall. That's going to be a strike, a fast-moving strike for Spencer. Aleci rips the rack. Let's look at that once again. A very short style approach for Spencer Aleci, and he's on the 1-3 pocket. The 5-pin falls last. He has a very short kind of shotgun snap kind of release. One of the shorter releases I've seen, especially compared to Paul Metivier, who starts further back. It has more of like an animated, longer quantity step windup. That's a 5-drop so far for Spencer Aleci. Next ball will complete the fill. Oh, and it's nearly a spare on strike. 9 fill, 38 after 3. Spencer Aleci's longest streak of strings at or over 100 this season has been 6. That's going to be a 9. He calls it. 47 after 4. Spencer Aleci has only had 1 match this season, taking more than 7 points per match, so it's a 1-match streak. He averages 4 points per home match, 5.2 points per away match, and that's a split and a 5-drop for Spencer Aleci, 4, 6, 2, 3, 10. In his past 5 matches, he's taken 17 strikes, 58 spares, and 62 tens. Currently the 30th highest Class B North average at 103.85, and the number 4th Class B North High series at 621. That's a great series. And that will be, wow, a really hard throw. 9-box, 56 after 5 for Spencer Aleci. Up by 12 over Paul Metivier's 44 after 5. Spencer Aleci with only 2 for 5 on the head pin with 1 split. Compare that to Paul Metivier's 4 for 5 on the head pin with 3 splits, but he still got a higher half out of it because of that strike and that 9 fill. It's all about the marks. In terms of the fill, Spencer Aleci is really in the lead, 82 to Paul Metivier's 36. Here comes Paul Metivier to the left of the head pin. Paul Metivier has the half Worcester plus a friend. And the ball will sail through the void, and the void stares back. Paul Paul Metivier has the 16th highest Class B North average at 109.4. Recently, he faced JT Lyonnaise in round 9 at Leda Lanes. I covered that match. He took 4 points in that match with a 533 series. 95, 136, 94, 96, and 112 was that series. That's a 5 box for Paul Metivier. 49 and 6. Ouch. One remarkable thing about his match against JT Lyonnaise was in the second game he had an 88 half plus a ball. I covered that on my stream, and I made a whole YouTube short out of it because it was a fast half, and it was a great half for Paul Metivier. Bit of a contrast to tonight, unfortunately, though. Paul Metivier had 2 strikes, 11 spares, and 7 tens in that match against JT, and that's a great spare for Paul Metivier right there. Takes out the bouquet of pins in the center. 1, 3, 5, 8, 9. There it goes. Explodes. Nice full hit, took it all out. Metivier, he needs a good fill on this. He'll drop 7. He wasn't on the head pin, but he got a decent fill out of it. That's 66 in 7 for Paul Metivier. 1, 3, 9. And he can't quite get the double spare. Good attempt, but he left 1. He'll pin it out for a 10 box. 76 and 8. Paul Metivier went 29 for 50 on the head pin against JT Lyonnaise, and he had 16 splits. His home house is at Leda Lanes. He works at Market Basket. Long time there. He's a manager there. Market Basket. That's a 7... Ooh, an 8 fill. An 8 split, that is, for Paul Metivier. 3-7. Paul Metivier's all-time Series 5 is 666. His all-time high single is 203 back in 1998. Paul Metivier connects with a 3 a little bit too full. In his prime, he was averaging 119 in leagues. That's crazy. Even I've never achieved that. A lot of bowlers actually don't have that kind of average these days. I think generally the trending averages, even in the pro leagues, have kind of decreased a little bit over time compared to 70s, 80s, 90s, and whatnot. But Paul Metivier drops 7, leaves the right side triangle. Whoop, 1 extra pin falls, so just the 5 and the 3 now. 3-5 for Paul Metivier. And he didn't connect with the object pocket, but it didn't matter. It still went. That's a spare for Paul Metivier. Let's look at that again, shall we? He was on the 5, and the piece of wood was what kicked it over. So he's at 96 and a 495 game total so far. If he gets a strike fill, it'll be 500. Fortunately, it's going to be 495 for Paul Metivier. And that is it. 495 with a game 5 of 101. 2-mark 101 for Paul Metivier. 6 for 10 on the head pin with 4 splits this game. 24 for 50 grand total for the head pin and 14 splits overall for Paul Metivier. That's been the story tonight. Rough day for Paul Metivier. Spencer Aleci is currently at 495, so unless he gets 5 0 boxes in a row, he is going to take the 4 points in grand total pinfall. So Spencer Aleci is looking to clean up. It's possibly going to be a 12-2 split, but we'll see. Spencer Aleci is off to the left. Takes 3 out. Half Worcester plus a friend. Aleci's off to the right. Takes a few more out. Working ball. Spencer Aleci recently faced Dan Gray in round 11. It was an away game. It's a 7 box for Spencer Aleci, 63 and 6. Spencer Aleci took 12 points versus Dan Gray in round 11. And in that away game, he had a 621 series with a 119, a 110, a 135, another 135, and a 122. He had 9 strikes, 9 spares, and 14 tens. He went 32 for 50 on the headpin with 16 splits in that match. Best match of the season right there. It's a 9-drop, 7 single pin spare opportunity for Spencer Aleci with Home Depot down there all around it. Crossing over. It goes. Spare for Spencer Aleci on the single. 73 and a ball on the 7th. There's that replay again on the single. So before we go tonight, I want to thank a couple of folks, including our ACST committee members, our Class B ACST treasurer, Corey Aleci. You might know him in relation to Spencer Aleci, perhaps. Just saying. And, oh, that was an 8-drop, not on the headpin, and the second ball was just a little bit off target for Spencer Aleci. No double spare. That's an 18 box in the 7th for 81. And he misses. That's a 9 box, 90 and 8. So, yes, so I'd like to thank our ACST committee members. Again, our Class B treasurer, Corey Aleci, and our league commissioner, Danny Finn, our statistician, Micah Imperato. Of course, Mark Ritchie and Riverwalk Lanes, the staff here, for hosting us this evening. And some of the B-roll you've seen tonight, some of that was shot by Steve Abodeely. Check out his work at stabodeely.com, STABODEELY.com. And of course, I always like to thank viewers like you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to this channel. And that's a 9 box for Spencer Aleci in the 9th, 99 with a 538 running total with 1 box to go. It is going to be, by the looks of things, a 10-4 split. Excuse me, I thought it was 12-2, but I misspoke earlier. It's going to be a 10-4 split. Spencer Aleci, final opening pitch. On the headpin, splits 5. 4, 6, 3, 7, 10. And, wow, nearly spares it up. In fact, will the last pin get touched? Not quite. And that will be a 9 for 108 for Spencer Aleci, and that will be it. End of regulation. 547 5-game total for Spencer Aleci, 495 5-game total for Paul Metivier. The final split of points will be 12 for Spencer Aleci and 4 for... 12 for Spencer Aleci and 2 for Paul Metivier. That will... Yeah, I got my numbers all jumbled up earlier, so just forget everything I said about the 10-4 split. 12 for Spencer Aleci, 2 for Paul Metivier. Final scores for the final time. Spencer Aleci 95, 107, 129, 108, 108 for 547. Paul Metivier 108, 98, 88, 100, and 101 for a 5-game total of 495. Both bowlers went 48% on the head pin tonight. They actually both went 24 for 50 and 14 splits apiece. So they actually tied in terms of the head pin and splits, but it all comes down to the fills. Spencer Aleci taking in 90 bonus pins. Paul Metivier taking 48. So that's really the difference right there. So all in all, Paul Metivier will move to 73 and 67, while Spencer Aleci will climb to 50 and 76 for the season as we saunter on down for the second half of the season here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. So anyways, it's been great broadcasting this to you this evening. I've been Steve Kelly for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and 3-Ball Spare Conglomerate. Check out my channel, of course, 3-Ball Spare. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Just search 3-Ball Spare on any of those, and you should find me eventually. Just look for the 3-ball pin icon and the spare triangle. That's how you'll know it's me. Also, check out Candlepins for Cancer, candlepins4cancer.com to sign up for qualifying roll-offs or to donate. And also go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. So, folks, it's been great broadcasting this to you. I've been Steve Kelly, and for Paul Metivier and Spencer Aleci, have a great one, everyone.